In recent months, a quiet shift inside the Indo-Pacific food system has begun to take shape, hidden beneath technical language, sanitary protocols, and long-standing trade frameworks. Australia, bound by some of the world's strictest biosecurity rules, has opened pathways for processed pork products under the CPTP, creating an unexpected corridor with Canada. What appears small in volume carries strategic weight, linking two democracies at a moment when global supply chains face increasing stress. This new pork supply corridor is not loud and it is not dramatic. Yet it may become one of the Indo-Pacific's most quietly influential trade realignments. Welcome to Geocapitalist, the channel that uncovers how alliances and trade decisions quietly reshape global power. Today, we examine a development few have noticed: Australia and Canada's new pork supply corridor, a subtle but strategic connection now reshaping Indo-Pacific trade patterns. Before we continue, consider subscribing if you appreciate deep, fact-based analysis of how democratic partnerships are redefining global supply chains. Now let's decode how this emerging route is taking form and how quiet decisions often move billions, and this story is one of them. The emergence of this corridor began not with a political announcement, but with a technical adjustment inside Australia's long-established import rules. Unlike beef, where biosecurity concerns limit fresh imports, Australia allows processed pork products from approved CPTP partners, provided they meet strict sanitary and phytosanitary standards. Canada, with a highly regulated pork sector and advanced traceability systems, fits squarely within these criteria. What changed recently was the increasing willingness of both countries to operationalize this pathway. Recognizing that processed pork occupies a complementary niche rather than a competitive one, Australia focuses heavily on domestic fresh pork production, but relies on imports for ham, bacon, and other processed categories. Canada, meanwhile, has an export-oriented processing industry capable of supplying precisely those segments. The adjustment was quiet, but its strategic implications are significant. It opens a stable commercial lane within a trusted democratic partnership, creating a corridor built not on headlines, but on regulatory alignment, technical cooperation, and shared expectations of quality and safety across long-distance supply chains. Though far from the scale of energy or minerals, the processed pork trade represents a meaningful economic link between Canada and Australia. Current flows sit in the tens of millions of dollars, concentrated in high-value processed categories rather than bulk shipments. Yet analysts expect steady growth as logistics systems consolidate and demand for premium processed products expands in Australia's hospitality and retail sectors. When factoring in related industries, cold storage, reefer container operations, port services, and insurance, the overall corridor easily reaches into the hundreds of millions in combined activity. These networks support thousands of indirect jobs across transportation, inspection, warehousing, and maritime operations. More importantly, this corridor demonstrates how democracies can build resilient, diversified supply chains without relying on massive headline figures. Stable, predictable flows of processed pork help smooth price fluctuations and reduce pressure on domestic producers during periods of climate stress or shifting export commitments. In a global market increasingly shaped by volatility, even a corridor of moderate scale can strengthen economic sovereignty through reliability, complementarity, and modern logistics integration. Canada and Australia share an unusual economic symmetry. Both are vast in territory, rich in resources, highly regulated, and deeply integrated into maritime trade routes. Their agricultural sectors operate under similar standards, creating natural compatibility in processed foods. Yet a recurring question emerges: why would a major exporter like Australia import pork products at all? The answer lies in specialization. Australia excels in fresh pork production, but imports significant volumes of processed ham and bacon due to domestic capacity priorities and consumer demand cycles. Canada, on the other hand, maintains a sophisticated processing sector shaped by continental integration with the United States. Rather than competing, the two systems complement each other with surprising precision. This raises an important question. Can complementary trade between trusted democracies create stronger, more resilient food networks than attempts at complete self-sufficiency? Opinions vary, and perspectives on this matter reveal much about how societies view risk, trust, and interdependence. The evolution of this corridor may offer early clues into how such partnerships reshape global food architecture. Several conditions converged to elevate this corridor from possibility to practice. Australia has faced recurring climate pressures, with drought cycles tightening supply in specific regions and encouraging diversification in processed categories. At the same time, global logistics disruptions since the early 2020s have pushed governments to prioritize reliability over sheer volume. For Canada, expanding presence in the Indo-Pacific aligns with broader strategic aims to reduce overexposure to continental markets and embed its agri-food sector within diversified supply chains. These shifts intersect within the CPTP framework, which provides tariff-free access and harmonized sanitary standards, reducing barriers that once made long-distance food trade economically unfeasible. As geopolitical dynamics intensify, particularly around Asia-Pacific supply chains, both countries recognize the value of stable partnerships grounded in transparent regulations and scientific oversight. The corridor's rise is therefore not accidental. It reflects a collective shift toward resilience, redundancy, and democratic cooperation. What looks like a small trade lane is in reality part of a larger move to secure essential goods in an era defined by uncertainty. Behind every successful food corridor lies a network of cold chain infrastructure, digital tracking, and precise maritime scheduling. The Canada-Australia pork corridor relies on reefer containers equipped with continuous temperature monitoring, ensuring products remain compliant with both nations' biosecurity standards. Major ports such as Vancouver, Prince Rupert, Fremantle, and Melbourne now handle these shipments alongside established flows of seafood, fruit, and dairy, creating efficiencies across categories. Advances in IoT sensors and blockchain-based traceability systems allow inspectors to verify conditions at every stage, reducing delays and strengthening regulatory confidence. These technologies also integrate smoothly with CPTP protocols, which emphasize data transparency and interoperable safety systems. Contrary to traditional assumptions about distance, long-haul trade becomes feasible when logistics precision outweighs transport length. The corridor benefits from backhaul opportunities on trans-Pacific routes, reducing costs and improving consistency. In essence, logistics has become the quiet engine of modern trade, enabling democracies with high regulatory standards to synchronize their supply chains across vast oceans with surprising efficiency and minimal friction. This corridor functions not because a new agreement was signed, but because an existing one matured. The CPTP establishes sanitary and phytosanitary benchmarks that both Canada and Australia already meet, allowing processed pork trade to flow under a predictable, science-based system. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency and Australia's Department of Agriculture conduct regular audits and data exchanges to verify compliance with temperature controls, pathogen standards, and traceability rules. This technical cooperation forms a quiet backbone for the corridor, reflecting a broader trend. Modern trade expands through aligned regulations rather than dramatic political gestures. Working groups within the CPTP consortium increasingly explore carbon-reduced shipping, methane-efficient feed technologies, and advanced inspection protocols. These innovations could extend the corridor's logic into other agri-food sectors over time. Before continuing, you are invited to share the country you are watching from, as these trans-Pacific links are strengthened by the diverse communities observing how democratic nations synchronize their supply chains with quiet, deliberate precision. No corridor operates without friction. Domestic sensitivities arise in both countries. In Australia, some question the need for imports given strong local production, while preferences for grass-fed meats contrast with Canada's grain-fed processing styles. In Canada, concerns occasionally surface about price competition, especially during periods of rising feed costs or inflation. These debates reflect deeper cultural and economic narratives around food identity and domestic capacity. Logistically, long-distance shipping introduces exposure to fuel volatility, port congestion, and global market cycles. Environmental concerns also shape the discussion, as cold chain transport carries significant energy requirements unless paired with low-carbon innovations. Yet supporters argue that managed interdependence reduces vulnerability to singular shocks, reinforcing supply resilience across multiple regions. The corridor's structure is complementary rather than competitive, designed to stabilize segments where domestic production alone cannot meet evolving consumer or industry demands. Ultimately, the risks underscore a broader truth. Resilience is not the absence of exposure, but the distribution of it across trusted, transparent systems. This emerging pork corridor is part of a larger realignment across the democratic world. As global supply chains face rising geopolitical tension, nations with high regulatory standards increasingly turn to each other to secure essential goods. Canada and Australia, with their compatible systems and shared commitment to transparency, demonstrate that stable food networks can be built quietly through aligned rules and coordinated logistics. The implications extend far beyond processed pork. Similar frameworks may soon underpin trade in grains, bioenergy inputs, fertilizer technologies, and carbon-efficient shipping fuels. These developments form a new architecture of democratic supply chains, distributed, predictable, and fortified against coercive disruptions. By strengthening complementary capabilities rather than duplicating them, Canada and Australia show how partnerships can enhance sovereignty while reducing systemic fragility. This is the understated power of modern economic diplomacy, not spectacle, but synchronization. And through that synchronization, a new Indo-Pacific food map is beginning to take shape, guided by standards, trust, and long-term strategic alignment. This quiet corridor between Canada and Australia illustrates how meaningful shifts in global trade often begin far from the spotlight. What seems like a modest exchange of processed goods is, in reality, part of a broader movement toward resilient democratic supply chains. As more nations face climate pressures, market volatility, and geopolitical constraints, partnerships built on transparency and aligned standards will carry increasing weight. This story is not about scale alone. It is about the architecture of trust shaping tomorrow's food systems. For those interested in how these links evolve, the next episode continues the exploration of Indo-Pacific realignment and the networks emerging across democratic economies. And if you found this breakdown valuable, check out our next video. It connects directly to what's unfolding across the Commonwealth. Don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us decode these shifts without compromise. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.